Muppets, that basic Muppet approach, it's all about the camera. In our company, we really don't do live theater. It's always been a camera art form. Even our live show, Puppet Up, if you've seen Puppet Up, even that show is done with a camera center stage, because all of our training is about the camera. And now I've lost the puppet. I've got to put down the puppet. But people say, well, when do you know a puppeteer is a really good puppeteer? And in our company, we always say when you can see that the character is thinking, and you know what the character is thinking. People often say the Muppets are so expressive, and of course they're actually not. In Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, the puppets got more expressive, but the Muppets, generally speaking, are not very expressive at all. And especially if you can make it, if a puppeteer, if the puppet is thinking and you know it's thinking, and you know what it's thinking, then that's really a master puppeteer working. All right, so now let me scoot forward to 1977. So this is, now I'm going a good 20 years further forward. And my father started experimenting with other techniques that were available to him. So I've got a couple of clips here. This is from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. This was a show that after my dad, I'm sort of skipping over the beginning of Sesame Street. Sesame Street was obviously a big period of productivity with my dad, but for him it was the puppetry, but it was also doing the counting films. There was all sorts of other stuff going on, animation. He was learning to do animation and all that stuff. But here in Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, this is just before we did the Muppet Show, and he was experimenting with some new techniques. Have a look at this clip. And you'll see, this is when he started thinking, well, how can we have puppets do things that puppets just can't do? So
all I got left is a sense of humor in a wash tub.
Well, at least there ain't no hole in the wash tub.
Head full of good thoughts, belly full of grub, money in your pocket when there ain't no hole in the wash tub.
Sweetest honeysuckle on the vine, Ma.
Your nails won't break and your toes won't stub. You never get a fever when there ain't no hole in the wash tub.
Alright, so there you go. You're seeing puppets full figure and there's water. So this is the first time we used radio-controlled puppets. Bob Sazakis was the head mechanical department puppet builder guy. In the close-ups, obviously, these are puppets with the edge of the tank just below the camera, so the puppeteers are actually in front. But in these wide shots, these are the very first radio-controlled puppets that we did. They weren't very good, they weren't very expressive. Generally, they're only there when they're not singing. Once they start singing, you're usually on the puppets. But, well, so that's a little piece, I'll let it play.
Hey, Emma, look what I caught!
Good catch, Wendell.
Yeah, they're really fighting today!
I'll be there to treat you to a soothing back rub. There ain't no hole in the wash tub.
There go two of the nicest folk on the river.
For its music, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is one of the greatest things we did as a company, and this was the first project that my dad did with Paul Williams. And Paul Williams wrote all the music for Emmett Otter. And now let me play one other clip. This was something that my dad did. This is also Emmett Otter. Go ahead and play it. So this was my dad experimenting with marionettes. Not terribly successfully. But what's interesting is you can see the string just above the characters, and then the strings vanish. And the way they vanished was my dad was using this very brand new technique called the soft edge video wipe, which hadn't been used before then, and or it was used for news purposes and stuff like that. But with a locked off camera, he could shoot the shot with a cherry picker going in with a puppeteer working the marionettes from above, and then he pulled the cherry picker out and mapped the top half of the picture back in again. So that actually a soft-edged white
Yeah.
right in the middle of this screen, so the strings disappear just above the puppets. Now, he worked really, really hard on it, and we didn't do a lot of walking puppets. That was less successful. The radio-controlled ones in the boat, more successful, and then they did more of that. Then, right after Emmett Otter, and then my dad did one season of Saturday Night Live. Interesting little tidbit there is he had done 2 pilots for the Muppet Show. The first one was a Valentine's Day special with Mia Farrow, and it was played as a Valentine's Day special, and then all 3 networks cast on the show as a series, because basically they were saying, well, Muppets are for children. Sesame Street was such a big hit, and they were just saying, well, Muppets are for children, and it really, really was frustrating my dad. So he made a second pilot, which is pretty amazing, because it's hard enough to do it once, and then he got the funding to do it again. And he did a second pilot called Sex and Violence with Muppets. Now, there wasn't a lot of sex and violence in it, but he was just trying to make a point. And so he did that pilot, which was much closer to the format of the Muppet Show. And all 3 networks passed again. Most notably was Michael Eisner, who was at CBS. And then my dad was very frustrated by this idea that he was now going to be only entertaining children for the rest of his life, and he was not going to accept that. So, not that he didn't adore Sesame Street, thought it was fantastic, but he always considered himself a pretty edgy, irreverent, naughtier sort of performer than that. And so he signed up for Saturday Night Live, which was, at the time, the most controversial TV show ever made. It was live TV for an hour and a half at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. Sort of had everybody confused. What are they really doing? And, ooh, the things that happen on Saturday Night Live. So my dad was like, sign me up, I'm getting on that one. So he did a group of characters, a dysfunctional family on a planet, and everybody was committing adultery and addicted to drugs and everything. And because he was just trying to make a point. But during that season, Lou Grade in England called him and said, come over to England, I've seen your pilot, come over to England, make your Muppet Show here in England, and we'll sell it back to America. And that's what he did. And then Lou Grade sold the show back into America in the 7:30 time slot, which, if those of you who know network television, means that the network makes no money on the 7:30 time slot. The network gets the money at 8 p.m. But the owner, the station owners, the local station owners, they program up until 8 p.m. So the Muppet Show played at 7:30 p.m. and went straight to being the #1 show in America. And it was always on the CBS LNOs. So Michael Eisner had to watch as the most successful TV show ever made was on at 7:30. So here we are in the Muppet Show. So this is a great little piece that was done for sort of behind the scenes about the Muppets. Those of you who are big fans may recognize this, but let's play this. This is one of my favorite clips from the Muppet Show, both behind the scenes and in front.
Wonderful.
Oh, there's a soft edge white with style. There's how the water went in.
Search the world for treasure, learn science, technology.
Where can you begin to make your dreams all come true? On the land or on the sea? Where can you learn to fly, play in sports and and study oceanography? Sign up for the Big Band or sit in the grandstand by your team and others be. In the Navy.
Alright, look at this guy back. Okay, that's the end of the piece. No, but now bring up the photo. Yeah, it's a great piece, right? And you saw this up, and this is my favorite part about that whole clip, is this guy. He's working a fan, a wind machine, and he's wearing a double-breasted suit. Every time I see the clip, I'm just like, who is that? And then I'm thinking he's probably like somebody that was, worked up in ATV studios upstairs, but came down because it was a behind-the-scenes crew. And then my dad said, "Oh, why don't you go work with fans?" That would be great. Alrighty, so I'm going to show a bit from 1981. This is just playing with stuff. So this is when I guess I was always goofing around with my dad. I made the first Muppet Penguin. And it was in London. We would hang out in the workshop and drive them all nuts. And so I made this penguin that I thought was really cool. And Frank Oz picked it up and went, "Yeah, that's pretty good." And then he used it. It was really funny. Then they started making tons of them. I also made a talking potato. I made a lot of stuff. I was particularly proud of my potato. I liked all the mechanical stuff. I was very into like the radio control stuff, so I think I was probably 12 or 13, and I made a little rod with the rod and the triggers and worked the eyes and the mouth. And mostly I made this face, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool. Now what am I going to do?" Well, make it a potato. That's really simple. Okay, so then this is the first big thing that I did with my dad. It was a summer break. I was in boarding school, and the Great Muppet Caper was shooting. My dad did the Great Muppet Caper into Dark Crystal as one giant shoot, which is kind of crazy. Universal did not understand Dark Crystal, and basically said, "Well, make us another Muppet movie, and then you can make your Dark Crystal thing." So he made Great Muppet Caper, and I think they had maybe a week or two off, and then they went right into shooting Dark Crystal for like 8 months. It was an incredibly productive year. But during Great Muppet Caper, my dad said, "Hey, Brian, will you..." Because I was always into marionettes, even though they failed in Emmett Otter. They didn't fail. We can talk about the illusion of puppetry later and how it resonates and why. So it wouldn't be a call it failure. But I liked marionettes. So my dad said, "Hey, we're doing this thing where we have to have these bicycles riding in the park, and don't really know how to do it." Because up to then we had done in the Muppet Show, we had done one simple shot of Kermit driving straight. But he wanted them riding all through the park, picking Kermit. So I worked that summer and learned to ride a bicycle at the end of 30-foot strings. And we were actually in the crane driving along. And I'm going to let it play so that you can see. And then you can see what my dad did, what he did to me. And this is kind of what he was like. He was like, "Wow, that's good. Can you do this? That's good, but what about this?" So let's play it. And I'll just tell you that to start with, we were just going to be riding in straight lines in the park. All right, so this actually is not a crank shot. This is the two axles are connected to each other. We're now operating that. This gig is being operated from a crane. The driving crane. I'm operating the screen.
It all feels so rare.
But Kermit's half up in the foreground, obviously. And then we would swap. And it's a radio control puppet that with the neck up. So then my dad said, "Oh, well, all right, that's looking good. How about can you do like circles?" So then we had to figure out how we could do circles. Here they come. That's the easy bit. Here's the hard bit. We had to drive the crane in with 2 discs at 30 feet. and then the crane would start moving. We'd figure out when the crane had to start moving. It would be about now the crane started moving that way, pulling us, and then jerked up. And then when we were doing that, now we had two marionettes for the Kermit. One was riding the bicycle and the other was working Kermit. Rate of control is still not that great. And then these bicycles, the way we did all these is they're all actually welded together. There's a little spoke going between their wheels, holding them together. But I'll let it play to the end because at the end, there's two bicycles that are pulling these big string of puppets. You can see the axles between them actually now if you look. And out in front, not in the green coat, but up there in the dark coat is me. I'm pulling one group to the back of a bicycle on a 40-foot string.